Hello, Kevin. How are you? Thank you for accepting this interview.
I'm good. How about you, Alejandra? And yes, my pleasure.
Well, I'm gonna start this interview talking a little bit more about Kevin. He's 31 years old. He studied international business and currently has his own company giving his services as a logistic operator for companies that are just starting to import. Am I right?
Yes, that is correct. I studied international business around early 2013, and I began my career as a logistics operator late 2019.
Nice, nice. Okay, so let's start with the first question. Okay.
hmm
Um, so what inspired you to pursue a career in international business?
Well, I've always been fascinated about how global trade connects with different countries, especially, and then studying international business allowed me to understand how everything sort of like works, like goods, services, even information, and how they move across borders. And after experiencing that the first time, I knew for sure that I wanted to be part of that.
Nice. I feel in the same way though.
hmm
So, well, the second question is, how did you get your first job in the importation industry? Did you remember something about it? What can you tell us?
How I got my first well, I applied for an internship during my last semester when I was in college at a logistics agency. And I showed a strong interest in import regulations and documentations, and I I'm assuming they noticed that. So after a few months, they offered me the full time position, and it just went from there.
Nice. And tell me, like, do you think that your first job was hard for you?
Well, with anything first starting out, it's always going to be difficult, especially the learning curve. Um, Not doing it for the first time, it's always a challenge. But after a few weeks, maybe even months, depending on the person, you start to catch it, and it just becomes, you know, a regular part of the day.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Um, okay. Tell me, like, what are the main responsibilities of your current role as a logistics operator?
As a logistics operator, I coordinate shipments and ensure that the customs regulations um, pretty much work together with tracking cargo and communicating with suppliers and clients to make sure the process runs smoothly and on time. Most likely.
Okay, okay, interesting.
hmm
I used to work in importation agency though, as a
Oh
logistic
yeah,
operator too. Yeah, yeah,
how
it
you
was
like it? Was it
nice.
hard for you?
I mean, I like it. I like it.
Okay, it's good.
Um, what have been the biggest challenges you face in international logistics?
I again, I think it's just like any other job. I think the biggest challenge, I mean, are things that you just can't control. For example, like unexpected
Okay.
port closures, custom delays are rough, and when regulations change suddenly, it just it's one of those things that like you can't control, and it just makes your job a little annoying. But we have to adapt quickly
Mhm.
to avoid those losses and interruptions for the supply chain. So
Okay. Do you think that you have like to be prepared for these kind of situations?
I want to say yes, but as a human being, you can't be prepared for everything. Sometimes you just have to roll with the punches.
Okay. Okay, makes sense.
hmm
Um, how do you manage delays or unexpected issues during this importation process?
Well, unfortunately, we cannot completely avoid delays, but I think the best way. that I found to manage it and make it a little easier when that happens is to stay in contact with the freight forwarders and custom agents. And having a backup plan always helps out. And then knowing alternate routes or suppliers help us minimize the impact too for the delays.
Do you have that you've been having a lot of delays, like ultimately?
No, I wouldn't say a lot of delays, like especially not an everyday thing. It's just when it does happen, it just makes it a little difficult. But no, it's not
Mm-hmm.
like a huge like a reoccurring thing. If that makes sense.
Okay.
But
Alright.
you do notice it when it happens. Of course, that's what I meant
Yeah,
to
of
say.
course. Can you say that maybe are you used to these situations already?
Um, yeah, I mean, I would say so. Um, at least I handle it a lot better, especially like in the first couple times. I'm a
Mm-hmm.
lot more calmer, um, and uh, and also the patience. You gotta have the patience with it too, because again, some things you just can't control. So,
Yeah. Okay. 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 Um, what technical or soft skills do you consider essential for success in this field?
well, for tech skills, I'd say HS codes for sure. Custom systems are crucial. Incoterms that will make your life a lot easier, especially in this field. For soft skills, I think again, just like any other job, you need communication. Sometimes you need some problem solving skills,
Mm-hmm.
um, and stress management. Especially stress management is a big one for me because if can't sometimes I've seen some people that I work with where you just can't handle the stress and they just unfortunately make things worse.
Yeah.
And especially with like high pressure situations, and yeah, it just does not make a good day after that.
I
So
think that the stress management is very important, right?
yeah,
For this
yeah,
job.
I think stress management. I think it's just important anywhere.
Yeah. Well,
It's
yeah.
just a very crucial survival skill pretty much anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay. What software or digital tools do you use regularly in your job?
What software? Um,
Or any digital tool?
we we use SAP, CargoWise, and the Beast Excel. Excel. I wasn't before I started with this career. I was not good at computers, and so Excel was a beast. At least for me, and
Mm-hmm.
that was my bane. Um, but thankfully, after a while, a couple months, I finally I wouldn't say master it, but I finally learn some ways around it, how to work it, how it can make it work for me,
Yeah.
especially for inventory and cost tracking. It helps. Excel
Yeah.
it helps
It's
a lot.
essential.
Yeah, and especially with some foreigners, like some digital tools like emails. Everybody, you know, they like using emails, but some foreigners I've noticed that they're very big on WhatsApp. So I started to use WhatsApp for real-time communications with clients and
Mm-hmm.
partners, especially our foreign counterparts too.
Do you communicate with your clients by WhatsApp?
Um, yeah, yes. If they're mostly they're foreign, the ones that use WhatsApp, especially since I've noticed that some phone plans, especially in other countries, they don't allow international calls and such. But WhatsApp helps with that. Um, so yeah, I'll say yes. I'll say I do communicate with clients and partners, but most of them again they're mostly foreign. So
I think that is the easiest way right now,
yeah,
right?
yep.
Okay. Um, did you have to study any of these digital tools? Like, did you study how to use Excel, for example?
Yeah, yeah. It took me to study Excel again because I was not good with computers. It took to learn Excel. I wouldn't say master because there's always something new with Excel. Um, I would say it took me about a few months, at least a month for sure. Because again, I was I'm not a tech wizard. Even now I'm still learning how to use the computer, but it for Excel finally like learning how to use it again. It helped out a lot. Um, SAP cargo wise wasn't that big of a deal with me for some reason. It was mostly Excel.
Okay,
Hmm.
it's interesting.
Hmm.
Uh, and well, the last question. What advice would you give to international business students who want to work in logistics?
Start talking to people. Immediately start talking to people. Try to make those connections. If you can, start with an internship. Learn as much as you can about regulations, documents. Um, just make yourself known. Put your foot in the door. And again, do not underestimate those soft skills like the stress management.
Yeah,
That's crucial for survival in this type of field. Stay curious. You're always going to learn new things, and just more ammunition for your arsenal that'll help you out in the long run, and just be ready to solve problems. Like again, not everything is going to go as planned. Sometimes you just gotta think outside the box. So
okay, okay, Kevin, thank you for your advices.
mhm.
And thank you again for accepting this interview. It was very interesting. And yeah, well,
Awesome. My pleasure.
have a great day. Bye bye.
Bye bye. Have a good night.